Hey guys. Hi everybody.
Hello.
Welcome. Hello. Welcome to Divine and Conquer's ReRoll podcast. Tonight's discussion, we're going to be talking about backgrounds and how they can influence the campaign or backstories and whatnot. How, I guess, taking the background and moving it to the foreground. See what I did there? I 100% saw that joke from a YouTuber. That is not my own. Do not give me credit for that. But for tonight, we have, again, reading down the list on our, whatchamacallit, here on our Discord, we have a Ryan, myself, Vic, Dicky, and Tabitha joining us for our podcast, and maybe someone randomly during the middle of the night, as they tend to do.
Yes. People got things to say.
Yes.
As always.
Buzz, as we... I wanted to do this little my interpretation of a background. We got someone in chat already doing the tragic backstory background, which I think is the iconic. So let me set out a scene. It's dark and raining, and someone comes out and shoots your parents with a crossbow, and now you're an orphan trying to bring vengeance.
Can you stop reading West's character notes, please?
that was Batman, but yeah, everybody is Batman.
Are you sure that wasn't Fishman? Because that's definitely Zadrith. Like, just saying.
Like I said,
clearly,
everybody's backstory is Batman in D&D.
In all fairness, I was raised on Batman, so that makes perfect sense for me.
The entire world was raised on Batman, so there you go.
If everyone's Batman,
Batman, our babysitter.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. So before we get into the main discussion for tonight, opening up to kind of a recap of what happened in the games that we've been playing. Just in case for you guys that don't know, we have a couple of D&D games that we play. On Wednesday nights we have our Harry Potter game, Hogwarts Prep. On Friday nights we have our Sacred World is a homebrew mishmash of Tal'Dorei and the Greyhawk Pantheon. And every other Monday we have Horde of the Dragon Queen, which Vic is using and kind of expanding that that module. Every other playlist that I see of Horde of the Dragon Queen, usually like 8 episodes in, and we're on 32 right now, and we're still not done with the first half of the entire thing.
Yeah, what's up? It's like I'm trying to make it fun and engaging.
Right?
Welcome to D&D, where we don't try to speedrun modules.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if your module might happen to have a bit of a theme for railroading, you know, you could always ride around it.
It's to be fair, not defending it, just saying what the purpose of most of these modules are is to also have, you know, the league, so people play it out, and there's DMs that get paid to do this, and you know, go to conventions. So it's kind of railroading that situation, but you know, it is what it is. And the new show that we have every other Sunday, we have a Theros game, which is in the world of Magic the Gathering's Theros. A lot of Greek odysseys, essentially, but they're not Greeks. They're
Crowan.
Crowans. There we go.
Sort of. Well, that's not every denizen of Theros, but the biggest one is a Croas.
Yeah, that's a thing that it's gonna be fun. Oh, that's gonna be fun. Let me quickly do a thing as I am trying to pause something. There we go. Okay. So just to have a little bit better capture for us, because I see some frames dropping. But okay, cool. Yeah, so opening up for everybody. I think a little bit of recap, going with the whole Horde of the Dragon Queen, since that's the one that it's on my head right now.
Yeah, what's up?
So the recap for that essentially is that we are in this Cloud Giant's tower.
What's up?
And we just met an ancient white worm. I am excited. I think my Fox, my total druid, is going to just walk past all the enemies. He does not care. Go up to the ancient worm and go, boop. We are friends now. That's what
I'm here for it.
That's what he wants to do. And it doesn't matter what's happening in the background. Him and Spud are going to go talk to a dragon. And that's all he's going to do. Because in his mind, he's as old as the dragon himself.
I mean, yes, absolutely. Fox is like the most ancient creature to walk this earth. He is older than the earth itself.
He is.
He only allowed the earth to be around him because he was there when it was created, and he's like, yeah, I guess.
I guess, whatever. Don't wake me up.
Like,
Wait,
well,
there's
this
gonna
is happening
be
now.
animals? Okay, I'm for it.
Yep, pretty much.
And then humans came and ruined everything.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
No, kind of.
The way I look at Fox right now, it's like you have the entire cult of Tiamat, like, we have no fear, looks at Fox, we have one fear.
Yes.
Somehow that old man's gonna ruin everything. I don't know why. He's
that
not...
old man. That one right there. Which one? The turtle. What?
8 panthers appear. Alright, that's it. I'm sorry, Tiamat. He has 8 panthers. We can't do anything about it.
Yeah, dude, he's got 8 whole panthers. He has 8 whole panthers and a Spud. Like,
yeah, Spud OP already.
Spud, yes. Spud is super OP.
I mean, what? We started out with freaking Ruggles smothering and Yuli. I think people forget that happened.
Oh, I'm excited for this to happen.
I love Birderized overkill on the Ruggles smothering.
Oh God, how?
And nothing brought me more joy than, for the record, this wasn't me purposely putting the Ruggles smothering in there. The Ruggles smothering was already an encounter that was written into the module. So,
yes.
Me knowing full well that I was about to traumatize some Harry Potter players that had to deal with Ruggles smothering brought me so much joy.
The specific person that has this trauma with the Ruggles smothering.
Yes.
That you trigger her. Oh, I love it.
Not like second session of freaking Harry Potter. We had to deal with freaking rugs. Oh God. I already hear Sonia crying in the background. Just flashbacks.
I think I just picture Fifi just kind of like, I don't know what's wrong, but I sense bullshit in the air.
It's like, I just sense bullshit, and whatever it is, I don't like it. I don't like that rug. Birder, I need you to eviscerate that rug right now.
As Yuli just gets trapped, eviscerated twice as hard now.
That, and then the vampires, which I think just stressed.
What, the Sanderson
Step
sisters?
Out. I think that just stressed Step out even more. It was
What?
like, oh God.
I love
That was just
the
not a
vampires.
good game for anybody. That just wasn't a good game for anybody who played the Harry Potter game.
I saw Josh's face when the vampires were mentioned, and I just see him putting his head in his hands, and I was like,
He's like, here we go again.
I love the vampires.
Yeah, the Sanderson sisters.
I love them.
Nexus transcends space and time. This is just Nexus in an alternate plane. Let's do this.
Yep. It's
Nexus an address, what?
Nexus. I like Nexus. Don't worry about
An
it.
address?
and then
Technically, he's in a dress half the time.
That's right.
very
Okay.
end,
Yes.
you bastard.
Oh,
Very end what? Tell me,
Yeah.
John, what's up?
Your brother? Who is he? What's up with that? What's the backstory?
So,
On the lore just got dropped, and
so we're hitting the Janva arc really fast and really hard now.
Oh, good. I'm excited.
As
I looked at that, and then I looked at Vic, and I'm like, what the
I need you to
fuck
know
did you do?
that I have been waiting months for that reveal. I
Really
have
now?
been I have
hate
had
you.
that written and in the works for months, and I was just like so happy that I finally got to drop this encounter, and I'm like, yes, this is happening finally. I finally get to roleplay this character.
I
Have
just
moment
did
of
it. What is
satisfaction.
wrong with you?
I think, speaking of that, and maybe a slight transition into Friday's game, there is still possible, because nothing's written in stone in the world of D&D, or at least it shouldn't be, unless you're running a module for League or whatever. There is a possible encounter on Friday that has been written since episode 2
Oh, that's exciting.
of Sacred World.
That's
Oh,
exciting.
goodness.
and it
What?
will finally manifest. If it
what?
does, it
And
will...
what happens if we completely miss it?
I don't know if these things will let you miss it.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That's what I call Railroad Volume 37.
Sometimes we're
I'm
needed.
kidding.
Sometimes we need it.
Yeah, there is ways to do it, but at the current, I don't see there's a possible way for you guys to avoid this situation because you already stepped foot in something. So you'll see.
True.
You'll understand when it happens. You're like, come on, really? Yep.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
So yeah. So I guess transitioning into from there, I guess let's have the Hogwarts Prep have the floor, since this is like one of the few times we actually have somebody from Hogwarts Prep in the podcast. So
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Wait, do you want me to do it? I can totally do it. All right. So in Wednesday's game, Hogwarts Prep, I want you to imagine that you've been given a mission to go and kill the leader of something, a leader of a werewolf group of somethings, right? And so you go, and you get there, but you already know the werewolf guy, so you're just gonna sit down and have a chat with him, and figure out what's going on there, and then you're ambushed by two separate groups. You don't know who they are. You just know they're attacking you, your entire party, and so you decide, well, yeah, we're gonna defend the guy that we were sent here to kill. Sure, why not? This is happening now. And, yeah, it was complete and utter chaos. Innocent blood was spilled and a lot of Aurors were killed in the process. It's crazy.
Yep.
I turned Spinroll into a mammoth and he trampled someone. And
that's great. Beautiful.
Oh, yeah. I warned the kids as we were coming up on the camp to start actually sitting down and talking with the alpha. I said, if you see falling ice or tusks, that's the signal shit has hit the fan. Yeah. And so Spinroll now has a confirmed KDA. It's great. I'm so happy of my little cactus. He's growing up so fast.
Such a good little succulent boy.
He's the greatest.
He's a good little boy. The Wednesday game for Hogwarts, they at the moment, the Minister of Magic sent them on a mission to kill a werewolf, a very specific werewolf, because they have been cannibalizing and eating kids and muggles and wizards alike. There's a lot of evidence that werewolves are killing people.
Allegedly.
You have seen the evidence. And then everybody else is like, I choose not to see it. Well, you kind of saw them wrangle up some kids and kill them. No, I'm not gonna acknowledge that.
I mean, Grizz didn't.
Griswold did not. Yes. Yeah.
Grizz was just told about it after the fact.
Of course. #fake news. So the minister's like, go kill this dude, but try not to kill anybody else because it's not really their fault. As a different group of auras, some fish brand new to the job, and some who had Grindelwald's emblem on their forearm were like, bro, we were here to kill off all of them, like that was sanctioned. And they're like, no, we were sanctioned by the minister. No, you weren't. That's not how that works, because you're not on the list. You're not on the job schedule. We are. Like, it doesn't matter what my past is. This was a sanctioned job, and you just killed police officers. What are you going to do about it?
I'm sorry, but looking back on it in retrospect, I'm just picturing the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia title card with the ministry sanctions genocide. Like holy crap.
Yeah.
I mean...
It's really on the nose, but yeah.
I mean... Drinks water.
I mean, those were words that he said.
Yeah. So, and they may or may not have been factually accurate to the campaign.
So I believe this Wednesday they're going to try to go into the Ministry of Magic somehow. You guys need to figure that shit out.
First, we gotta kill the rest of the damn red caps that you threw out.
Oh yeah, first red caps. Because you randomly got assaulted by red caps.
That was a fun thing to watch.
Yeah, that Jericho's like, I'm gonna run here. Okay. That is 7 red caps. That is going to be 7 times. That is that's gonna be 21 attacks on you.
I'm starting to notice a trend across campaigns here.
There sometimes is, and it's just coincidental.
Barraged with attacks.
Yep.
Well, here's the thing, because you guys already figured it out. The for the red cap situation, you guys, from my notes, which apparently are wrong, and I'm not going to say that the player. That's why I'm so specific. And I went back and watched, and yes, I was like, write that shit down on your character sheet. Okay. Did you write that shit down on your character sheet? Nope, I don't have it.
Bones have the hat or not?
It's already been rewritten. So
It's already been rewritten?
Yep. So
that moment when you retcon from literally last week's session because you forgot to write red hat in notes.
And it's like, I'm not gonna you said you didn't put it down, you didn't put it down. That's it. That's where the argument is. Okay, cool. Because y'all noticed and figured out when the red caps appear. If you would have had the red cap on your person, and you would have been outside in the middle of the night, boom, red cap appears out of nowhere.
Oof.
That's a thing. And that's funny, and let's see if you guys can piece things together. Because
the fact that the entity is the cap is like a really weird parasitic relationship that I just find super interesting.
I don't know if that's 100% like D&D states it, but that's my little
how you
twist.
described it. That's how it is.
That's a good
now.
That's a good flavor. I personally like it.
Yeah, there's a. You guys don't have every piece of information, but you guys have most of it. Yeah. And
we usually don't. I'm just wondering. I'm waiting for you to be like, "Oh yeah, they have pack tactics, by the way," and I'm gonna be like, "Well, shit."
They have a very specific way most of my things have a very specific way on they attack.
We noticed.
Fridays was technically played a little bit wrong because the fight should have lasted a lot longer. Because they didn't do one main thing. And I was like, well, it's too late now. That would have pissed everybody off. So, just that fight for Friday technically was a little bit easier than it should have been.
Oh, did you misread legendary actions again?
Is what you're saying.
Cole, tell that to Cole. Tell it to his little baby face.
They, I'm just gonna say they're bullies. They're flat out bullies, and they're strong bullies.
That's why West fucking hates them. Like he will not hesitate to say that.
So, Ryan, for just to catch you a little bit up to date, I don't know how much you know about with what happened.
I actually don't know anything. I just know that apparently y'all have a crippling case of PTSD, and
Yep.
My tiefling,
that tends to be my flavor.
Cole.
Too long didn't read. My tiefling cleric casted a level 3 inflict wounds on.
He had somebody like anime explode with blood.
Yeah, on the Goliath that charged up at him.
Ooh.
Not only did he crit, but he also confirmed with another nat 20.
Holy crap.
He didn't get 3, but with my percentiles, it ended up being 12d10 worth of necrotic damage.
Holy actual crap.
Cole is a literal glass cannon.
Yeah, yeah, I can see it.
78 total necrotic damage overall. And then, of course, as Jesus puts it, once my turn's over, hey, Cole, what's your passive perception? Oh, well, it's 17. You notice every single Goliath turn and look directly at it.
Oh,
and then they all proceed.
Do on their turn, they all proceed to surround my character and knock him unconscious.
Oh,
they literally knocked him down to death's door. It was so wild.
Knocked him down. I had to immediately roll a fail on a death save.
Yeah, he got hit. He got hit so hard he went straight to a failed death
I
save.
was so nervous I freaking forgot
Oh,
that my
man.
boy has armor that prevents him getting crit damage.
Whoops.
I forgot
Yeah.
that.
Oh, rip. That's not something you should forget.
I shouldn't have forgotten it.
Oh,
but I
I
did
read
at
your
the
character
moment.
notes.
I was nervous, and I feel like that also went over to Cole too. But then the paladin's like, "Hey, I'm going to cast aid on the character on Cole who's knocked out, the druid, and I think it was Ragnar or someone else who got
I
it.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
The second Cole regains, oh yeah, and before that, the few Goliaths that were still up, one of them stood over Cole's unconscious body. I was so nervous, but the second Cole came back, he was like, the Goliath's turn was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna, how did he put it? I'm gonna save you the trouble, bearer of horns. Proceeds to freaking over Cole's body, slice his throat, and kill himself.
Wait, the Goliath did it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Goliath straight up slit his own throat over Cole, let the blood just pour onto Cole's face and body, and then just died on top of him.
Why?
We don't know, but Cole's traumatized now.
Yes.
Also,
Yeah.
I'm reading chat, and it's stated from Shortbeard. Glass cannon implies that Cole has some level of control over things.
Fair.
I will let you guys know, as most DMs will, I'll probably keep reminding you that there is very, very little that I do that is that dramatic and has literally no intention. Most of those things are very purposeful.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna randomly have a Goliath slit its own throat over a player character
Yeah,
just
that's-
because you could.
With some of the things that my boy has done in the past few
Days?
yeah, things that I've even noticed, I'm like, and it's those moments where I have Cole just being like, I probably shouldn't be alive right now. I probably shouldn't be alive right now.
Yes.
Flicking off the fire giant was one that's still.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
Cole, you're gonna. Was Friday the moment where Cole realized I might need to slow down a bit?
I think that was the moment where he did go. This is what my mom mentioned. Why I shouldn't.
Your
do magic like
actions
this and
have
attack
consequences.
people. Yeah, basically that. Realizing.
And
Yeah,
here's
don't-
the fun part. 2 Goliaths
Yes.
escaped.
Yep, that's very true.
Oh no, that's true.
Yeah, I remember Ariel wanted to go after them, and we're just like, you know what, we're tired.
Yeah, no, he managed to 3 were running away. He did manage to kill the one on the river.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh god.
Yeah, we're tired. We'd like to not be here anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the R's from our assault on Wednesday escaped too, and I'm like, oh crap, did he see me reanimate those 2 guys? I don't know if he did, but I'm a little worried. Just a little bit.
We'll burn that bridge when we get to it.
Oh yeah, of course.
I think that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was just like, I don't know where my train of thought was. The cat jumped up on the bed. And
Way to go, Cole.
Cole. Oh man, Cole. I like how now that you guys are in Whitestone, I'm gonna get shit-faced drunk.
Oh, we have plans.
yeah, my
we
boy's
have
definitely getting
plans.
shit-faced drunk.
We have plans for getting shit faced drunk. So I hope you're ready for that. The whole hour of shenanigans.
I am so excited because I calculated how much, like, for realsies, and it would be one of the first. If you're so gun ho on just being, here's 10 platinum, how much do I get? Depending on which location you go, that is so much liquor that orc death would get alcohol poison.
West is excited.
Yes.
West is excited for
I
this.
can cast Lesser Restoration a lot of times.
Yes,
You're
dropping
Mama didn't
10
raise no bitch.
Oh man,
And then West immediately dies of alcohol poisoning.
yeah,
And then he gets like, you see the back of his neck get yoinked up, and he just slapped away. Get up, you bitch.
I'm just picturing somebody laying an arcanic focus on the table and being like, Mama didn't raise no bitch, give me another round. Keep it going.
Oh, alcoholism for a wizard must be a great concept.
Oh,
Just
yes.
saying. It's a little too short, but we still because we only have 3 episodes thus far. But y'all hit a lot of like big, overarching concepts for the Theros game, of like, oh, you shouldn't have based your entire campaign on this one person. Like, it's not. And like, oh, what about this city? What about these things? You guys are figuring things out pretty fast, and I'm enjoying it. But I do think that the best part of technically yesterday's game is the. Are you all familiar with Plato's forms? Plato's theory of forms. It's a philosophical concept that essentially tries to get to the root of what is something. Like, what does it mean when you call something a chair? Does it have to be made out of wood? Does it have to be made out of metal? Like, does it have to have 3 legs? Like, what is the form of chair? Because in heaven, or the celestial plane, or whatever you want to call it, there will be the ultimate chair. This is the definition of chair. No syntax or arguments here. Like, this is chair. This is table. This is happiness. I think that philosophical conversation was discussed yesterday over what is a pond.
I saw the clip.
Yeah, we watched that and we're like, wow, y'all really hitting the big questions here.
This is what you can
Is the pool a pond? I love the bard, as I'm actually currently drawing him out right now while we're on the podcast.
Lovely.
Because yes. I just love the whole, I'm going to empty my water skin out. There you go. Is that a pond? And I'm like, that? Yes. Thank you, sir.
Ryan going, listen, you little shit.
Good.
I'm
That's some good
so glad that Wolf is in one of our games now, because Wolf is such a freaking fast, clever dude. Like,
oh yeah,
Bard is
he's
great
so
for him. He's such a good Bard.
And the thing is, he's been wanting to run College of Eloquence Bard since he saw it in Unearthed Arcana. Like, he loves the idea of just having a traveling like shopkeeper that's totally just nondescript, talks his way out of everything, silver-tongued devil to its core, played up times 1,000. This is the wet dream of D&D characters for him.
Yeah,
like,
he's really good at it. Yeah,
he's hyped for it.
It's great. I can.
What constitutes a body of water? God damn it! Just that whole because I slipped and called a rather large bowl of water that was being electrified a pond. Well, he just, oh my god.
He just took it and ran.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, pouring his water skin on the floor and being like, hey Zadrith, is this a pond? And oh my god.
It's an ocean.
As a pile of water.
I mean, hey, as a merfolk, I could only imagine your unbridled rage at in that moment.
No, I actually Zadrith dragged his gills across the ground and goes, I can breathe through it, so it must be like.
I'm gonna die on this hill, and
I'm
that's
gonna
it.
Die on this hill, bro.
Oh man. The ultimate couch. I'm reading from chat. What is the ultimate couch? Does it provide the answers to the ultimate question? What is comfort? These are the quite essential questions that you will get answered at Divine and Conquer. But moving on to backgrounds. As our discussion for the rest. Unless anyone has another last minute thing that they wanted to ask or give a little tidbit for the games that we've been playing. Always like to ask the question before I move on, as I'm currently flipping through pages and trying to get the right thing.
Totally random thought, but Jericho seems like he's gone up into life or death scenarios that he almost hasn't come out of multiple times. Do you guys have a backroom deal that, like, Jericho's like, I'm really trying to kill this character so I can play something else? Or do you just happen to throw everything dangerous just at Jericho in Wednesday's campaign?
No, Jericho is definition edge boy. And I think he puts himself in those situations.
I mean, that is fair.
He
Yeah.
definitely wants it.
Look at his character sheet, and the image will cut you with the edge.
I'm amazed he hasn't like multi-classed into Blood Hunter at this point. Like,
No, don't worry. He's playing a Blood Hunter in Vic's game.
oh, I knew it. I knew it.
Josh is our
ultimate
edge.
Boy.
Hunter and Monday.
He is ultimate edge boy.
Oh, I love Josh. He is the
It's
edgiest.
so great because like he's like the most like exasperated, just blood hunter ever, and like
Julie just wants
he
to
literally
be-
every combat session he goes into, he's like, "Please, I want you to do it. I want you to do it."
Kill me. I am right here.
How we expect it'll go down when we
He-
finally
like,
fight
we're-
Tiamat.
Right, we're gonna hit the end game where it's like you are all like at the Well of Dragons. You're encountering Tiamat as she rises out of the depths of hell, and Yuli's just gonna be the first one to step forward, just holding his hands out, just like, do it. Do it.
Fucking do it. I don't get paid enough for this. Just fucking do it.
I'm just picturing Among Us memes being vote me. I'm the imposter. Do it.
Oh, and then just Fox comes out. Alright, let's go fucking kill this bitch. Like, Fox, you're 2 miles away. I see her. Just walks an inch per round.
Gives me enough time to summon 8 panthers.
Look, we have a
Yes.
Circleist Shepherd's Druid,
Uh-huh.
2 clerics.
We have 2 clerics, so that's already unbalanced.
Yeah.
Tempest
I
and
mean-
War Domain. Tempest and War Domain.
Yep.
Oh,
So
neither
unbalanced.
of those are life domain. Oh.
Yeah, no, neither of them are. So it's like,
It's all combat base.
yeah, so they're all combat based. So John was just like, hey, hey, Bahamut, would you mind if I add +10 to my roll? Or Ophelia's just like, oh, hey, I feel like maxing all of my lightning damage right now.
Yeah.
They are ridiculous, and it's just like I have to like calculate times like 100 for this group because they keep blowing through my encounters like they're nothing. I'm
Also,
like,
Wizard's
remember-
the only human.
yes.
I was gonna say, also remember, Fox's animal summons are now considered magical beings.
Yep.
Oh
This is very
no.
true.
All my panthers and all my
They're all considered magical attacks.
and they all get pluses to their hit die and
Fuck it.
everything because why not? I am all the animals.
I
Yeah.
mean,
feel like
on
Yes.
as OP as our group is,
Uh-huh.
that's not even counting Jeremiah's nat 20s that he
Oh my
rolls.
god.
Jeremiah. Okay, so in Horde of the Dragon Queen, for some reason, Jeremiah
God.
seems to funnel all of his probable luck into Horde of the Dragon Queen, specifically for his character attacks, because every other turn he has, he's like, oh, I rolled a nat 20. I'm like,
When
oh.
he rolls his 2 attacks, he gets 2 nat 20s.
He rolled his 2 attacks, he got a double crit, basically, and I'm like, stop it.
And that's not the first time he's done it either.
Also, the fun part about this is, so I was working with a buddy to essentially write, basically create a magical weapon for Birderai to what's the word, to quest for, because it's his family's inheritance, this sword to receive through generations and et cetera, et cetera.
of course, of
And
course.
so we wrote this magic weapon, and we thought it worked pretty well because it's like the probability of getting a natural 20 on a roll. Okay, this makes sense. So whenever you get a natural 20 on a roll, you roll a percentile die, and when you roll that percentile die, if it's equal to or below the enemy's AC, then it cuts their AC in half for the encounter.
Holy crap! That's
It does not stack, but however, it will cut their AC in half for the encounter because it's supposed to be like it's supposed to be kind of like that very debilitating blow that like almost cripples them. Like that's how heavy the attack is with that sword.
There you go.
So yeah, so it made sense, but we didn't factor in just how
Many
often
times.
Jeremiah rolls a goddamn nat 20.
Which has been like maybe 4 times in the entire campaign, which doesn't seem like a lot, but for D&D, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Last time I saw a nat 20, it was on a useless perception check when we were in the middle of walking between places. Like, yeah, you know stuff real good.
It's great because I have my Barbarian West in Friday's game, and we It's always fantastic when he rolls a nat 20, like, but he never does it on an attack roll. It's only ever on something like that's just a passive like skill check. Like, hey West, roll me a quick perception. Oh, I got a natural 20 on that. Okay, you see this thing, and it would be like one specific thing that actually is not that important of a detail. It just feels like a gimme at that point. Like, wow, West, you actually rolled high for once. All right, this is what you see.
Speaking of perception, hey Jesus, how annoyed do you get when you ask us to roll perception when you have Ragnar and
just like Ragnar and Cole just sit there and they're just like, we see it.
I saw it before you even said it. Don't worry about it. I got your back, bro.
And then we have Addie, who's also apparently.
Oh yeah, Addie, he's a druid, so it's fucking.
It's great. It's you guys have a really well organized and balanced group. It's
yeah, it's absolutely.
It's good.
Wait until Cole goes to level 12 and gets the alert feed.
I see and know everything. You
Cole's
cannot.
Gonna be just Cole is now just the equivalent of a paranoid feral
I was gonna say, yeah. Like, the alert feed for Cole, instead of being, like, someone who's just aware of their surroundings and that James Bond individual that just sees every bit of information, Cole's just a little dog who's half, like, high on, caffeine. What's that? Oh, God, what is that? Oh, it's just a leaf. I saw that leaf. What's that? That's another leaf. Oh, my God, these two leaves look the same.
Why do these two leaves look the same? I need to figure this out. Why? Is this a coincidence? Oh, my God, what the hell is that?
Yep. I have peeled back the curtain of reality.
All right, so love these conversations. I always do, but we do have a podcast to get a hold of. Let's talk about backgrounds. Yeah,
talk about them.
So I'm scrolling here on our notes. So the classic backgrounds on the Player's Handbook on 127, we have Acolyte, Charlatan, Criminal, the Entertainer. We got Folk Hero, whatever. We have the Guild Artisan, the Hermit, Noble. We have Outlander. We have the Sailor. We have the Soldier. We have the Urchin. So like those are your stereotypical ones. And a lot of games that I watch or hear in podcasts, it's like you pick one, you get 2 skills, you get maybe a language, you get a tool, and you get a little bit of extra gold here and there. Like, and that's it. That's all they are. But they can be so much more. They really can be. Just a tidbit that I didn't know about, because you should read the entire book page cover to cover. Things that as I'm trying to stay here with notes. You can customize it by the book a little bit, and we can go with that in a little bit. But as to why I feel that background should be put more into the forefront, and as I'm writing my 100% homebrew thing, we had kind of like, because I'm copying off Pathfinder, the RPG, like the Pathfinder Society, these adventurers that kind of there's the overall arc guild of adventurers that kind of write their deeds and publicize them, and that's how like they get afforded to go out on an adventure. That group of people that in Friday's game, the patron for them was this ancient gold dragon, but he went bye-bye. So what's going to happen to that society now? Chattington's kind of trying to do that at the moment. Like, just saying I'm from that guild in of itself already brings out a slew of role-playing ideas. But it's saying something like, I am part of the Pathfinder Society, or I am a guild artisan, says more about your character than saying, I am a rogue halfling. Like, that yes, you I guess the whole point, because most of these podcasts, I'm trying to branch out ideas and grasping to the air and trying to, like, hopefully together we can collectively have a decent conversation about how to roleplay more, how to not just be your class. Your class is more than, I'm a healer and I can fight well, or I can pick logs and I have multiple attacks. Like, that's cool and that's fun. Obviously it's fun. That's why we play D&D. A lot of D&D is overcoming a challenge. We like overcoming challenges. We like beating the game. Like, it makes us feel good. It releases those endorphins in our heads. But
that dopamine.
But it's also role playing. That's the heart and soul that I like, and try to pick at my players to do a little bit. So saying something like what your occupation is, what is great. It's not just someone on a mission to do something. It's more of who you are. What are your goals? What is your past? What were you before you became an adventurer? You weren't always just an adventurer. You weren't always, let's keep going with the same analogy. You weren't always just a halfling rogue. What were you before? Oh, you were a criminal. Okay, cool. That aside, what was your crime? What are you being hunted? Did you serve and now you're a free person out in the world? Like, do you have to, someone like in Carabal's thing, which was really cool. Yes, he is a criminal, but his thing was that someone paid for a crime that he was accused of. So like he has a criminal background, but we're working with that. Going off and stealing like the Acolyte. Like, Acolyte is someone who like devotes their entire life to like, a servitude. Well, we can change that a little bit. Instead of religion being the thing, is you devoted your entire life to this guild, this rogues guild, and so you're an acolyte of this like thieves and spies and organizations for a king, for a kingdom. Like that could also be part of your acolyte. Turn this down just a little bit. Okay, and so that could be something to work with your DM. Like, what goals and values you have? What were you doing in the campaign before you became an adventurer? Before you started your adventuring with everybody else? Things that I love. The player's handbook is pretty vague, and I think the reason why is so you can use this information and incorporate it to your world. And every person group that has their own like homebrew, I feel that if you work with your characters and you work with like, I want to build a monastery for my monk. Okay, cool. And the monastery is going to be this, and this. You can work with your player, create a custom background, which, I mean, it's all written here what you could have. 2 skills, a language, and a tool. Great. What are the skills for this monastery? Is it just for simplistic sake? Oh, maybe it's athletics and acrobatics because we're physically fit. Or maybe it will be insight because you train your body and your mind as hardy. Maybe it's cartography tools. Mm-hmm.
I don't want to interrupt, but I do want to just kind of laugh at the insight thing. I'm picturing insight as you became a structural engineer. You went to college.
You went to college, yeah.
You're throwing blueprints together and being like, all right, put that brick right there. Yeah,
why
perfect.
not? Why not be a guild artisan that also works construction?
Yeah, no, that's really cool though. Like that does add flavor.
Yes, and it's already you are different. And going with our construction worker here, you've already made a monastery construction worker. You had the DM did not plan that at all. Now you have an entire organization throughout the world that is both the defenders of the town with their fists. Also, they can make you a pretty good building, and like that's totally cool. As the background gets more looked into and more utilized to decipher your world, the more the DM and the player are working together, and the more they're building the world, which is, at the end of the day, amazing. Campaign settings like Ravnica, I think they did the best job at this, because it is a 10-city world, and each guild is so different that your backgrounds tend to be those guilds. You're from Rakdos, or you're from Gruul, or you're from the best Golgari.
I knew he was gonna say it. I knew he was.
Golgari is the best guild. It just is, man. Death and life. It's I love it. My hippie goth phase is
which. Mm-hmm. It's kind of funny because Golgari in Ravnica is widely considered to be Ravnica's trash disposal.
It is. If you die, just throw it down the sewers, and eventually the Golgari tribe will take care of it. And they're like, yes, we are. We have
like,
our
this can
army.
grow mushrooms? Hell yeah, let's do it.
Which technically, spores, Golgari, Addy.
Of course.
There you go. Same
Good
thing.
old moldy boys.
Moldy boys, but we have 2 moldy boys in Divine and Conquer. I love it.
Hell
Yes.
yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of how I feel about backgrounds. They could be brought up a lot more, and I highly encourage DMs when they're starting out their campaign and their players are working with their backgrounds. If you're looking at something and it just does not quite fit, it's okay to change things like oh, my race or my class gave me religion, and like the background also gives me religion, so can I change it for something else because I feel that maybe stealth would give my character more of what it needs. So like, yeah, sure. And now you're building a new background, and things like, what does it mean to be a guild artisan? Like, you're part of a guild. You could work it out like, oh, mom and pop shop. Cool, that's fine. If you don't want to really focus on that, you want to focus on something else. But like, or you could head into it. It's like, you are part of the alchemist guild. Like, you are an alchemist that has some stake in the world, that means something in the world. You know, like your knowledge about alchemic components and how to make magic and science become this unison that's not really understood that much. Like, it is a rare skill. When we go into the Arthurian campaign, probably next year or so, like, to be a wizard, and also I'm kind of ripping off that too for the other game. Like, wizards are rare. The wizards, like, there's dime dozens that can cast cantrips. Once you start casting level 1 spells, wow, it should be special.
You're a spicy boy.
You spicy. And like, if you guys have looked at the maps for the Maya world that I'm building, there's a lot of towers, and it's very specific. If you are considered an arc wizard and you have a tower, you are part of council throughout the world. You are part of organizations with those cities. So like, that should be something keyed in with your background. What skills do you have that taught you how to do that? Like, what influences that? So just things to think about. As I am reading through my notes over here.
Is it bad that your guild artisan construction worker, like, I have the logical end point for that character, and now I kind of want to play it, because the logical end point is I want to build Retired Adventurers Anonymous, abbreviated to RAA, where I went out adventuring, I retired, now I build homes for other retired adventurers after they're done with their travels.
That sounds like an amazing character.
Okay. I legit do have essentially a concept like that for a character. It's currently he's currently being used for the Alistair Discord's like roleplay server. Where essentially I took Xavier as a character, and I'm like, where would he? I was like trying to like project where he would be in like 20 years, and I was like, you know what? He probably retired, and he opened up his own tavern for adventurers to come, like weary adventurers to come in and get some food and etc. So that's what he's currently doing. And then the awesome thing about that was Shane took that concept and he put it into his campaign that I play on Thursdays, and I was just like so excited and just blown away how cool that was.
That tends to be like the best when the DM and the players work together to bring out a concept. That's amazing. Yeah. I used to, and don't get me wrong, for the average table, if like you don't want to put your heart out into the backstory, and maybe role playing is something that you're not 100% comfortable with. And just like, I have a hard job, I tend to have like a shitty life, and I just want to get together with my friends for a couple of hours, drink a beer,
throw some dice,
throw some math rocks, and like just tune out. And like, that's beautiful. And the DM shouldn't. I will always go back to the DM should never punish the player for anything. That's never a good environment.
Yeah.
Can I add something real quick?
Sure.
I've been trying to think when I can jump into this conversation. You guys are all over the place. I'm just trying to think, okay, where can I make sense of all of this? But I think a good dungeon master will take a background story and hold it and wait until it makes sense to the story that they're working with. So I think I've seen so many dungeon masters sometimes try to force a background on people, and it's just not feeling right. It just doesn't, flow with the story and stuff like that. I think, taking us, for example, Sacred World, when I first started and I told you about Reefer's background, you kind of picked up on a few things and decided, okay, I'm going to run with this a little bit. I can do something with this. And as we progressed, and then I lost Reefer, and then Orcus shows up, and then he had a little bit of a background situation that kind of wasn't the same thing, but kind of went along with everything that was happening. And now with Oleg, he's kind of rounded out that whole background information of Reefer, because Reefer's background information started 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was like, my brother said, okay, I want to retire your barbarian. What do you want to do? And I said, okay, give me these 3 type of women, and he'll, make children out of them. And the half orc went to military school. Well, sure enough, here is Orleg that came out of a military school. The human was a fighter, had a son, and she left him. So possibly West could be or could not be. There's no knowing that, it's kind of out there. The daughter was traded to a wizard to put a spell on Reefer's sword. She became a wizard of some sort, and was Raphanis it? Don't know. There's no way of knowing. So the mystery of it works, and it flowed with our story. It did not change. It did not dominate our story, but it flowed with it. And I think a good dungeon master will use a background to make a story work, but won't force the story to on everybody to adapt to.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
No, it does.
It makes perfect sense.
It's a very good thought. Yeah, for sure. Don't definitely don't force your the players to do something. It's for real. It's good.
It comes back to a collaborative storytelling point, in my opinion.
I agree.
It's like it's a group effort, and the DM has like the overarching concept of what the base story is going to be, and then you have backgrounds which allow for story hooks that help immerse your players in the universe, and a good DM will be able to make stuff like that flow.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. Hopefully, that's the goal.
We certainly try our
best. Yeah. And then you got Sonya sitting in a corner being like, well, I already know everything. What's there left to do? Like, fuck.
And on the note of specific like going away from like the you picked your background, right? Now we're going into backstories. It's very okay with someone to have a backstory, but not a full-fledged entire 100. Like when you sit at the table and it's your first time playing your character, I definitely don't expect you guys to have a full-fledged backstory. Like it could be 60% done, and in your head it was 100% done. But as the story progresses, you're like, oh, what if blank or blah blah blah? Cool, let's add that to it. It's always good to never view your backstory as finished and work with the dungeon master or game master here and there and behind the scenes to flush those out, especially when it's like coming over. I'm not sure exactly how many dungeon masters do this, but going back to character arcs, like generally how my games are written, is there is an overall plot. The world is having this problem. You guys will be involved in it somehow. But you all individually have specific goals and dreams or nightmares or grievances or whatever that also should have its own spotlight and should be solved. Maybe not everything can be solved because the world doesn't always have an answer for all of it, but we will go into arcs and like, oh, you were getting revenge on your brother's death. And when that time happens, it's 100% okay for the DM to go back and like, hey, so I know you mentioned that you were like hunting your brother or whatever. Like, what does he look like? Where are they from? All those things, which would be good. Oh, there's a thing that I never wrote down that I should have, and I don't know what the website is. But there is a location. I think if you ask like 100 questions for your character, I don't remember what the website is called. Like, it's a good resource because it asks, where was your education? Like, did you have this in your background? Like, name 2 childhood characters? Because a lot of people, when they tend to write their backgrounds, they're like, these are the 3 major events of my life, and that is what we're going with, which is fantastic. But if you want to dig a little bit deeper and have a little bit more rich story, it helps out. If a player gives you 2 sheets of paper worth of background versus a player that gives you 1 sheet of paper, not that one is better than the other, but you do have more information with 2 sheets than with 1 sheet of paper.
I've got an interesting point on this, if y'all don't mind.
Yeah, and then Dixie, please. After
you mentioned a point about how like your story might be 60% done when you sit down to the table. When Ferris died and I started the ideations for what would become Griswold, I basically had a few major plot points for his own backstory, and then started fleshing them out like coming up to the reveal date that following week. And I sent you the rough draft of it, and at one point there was a specific point where Griswold, after graduating from Hogwarts, just kind of got lost in the aether. He ends up backpacking through Europe, and ends up working with a ministry contact that he had met a while back to repair a war-torn town in Poland following the events of World War I. And he did that, and I initially wrote that as just like, oh, it's just this little bit that helps, it's a formative point that helps him be who he is. Jesus ends up taking that ministry contact and turning it into its own little, like, incredible side arc that I honestly never expected from that plot point. And I think that's a sign of a really ingenious, like, DM just taking something that a player might have wrote as just like a little like side note in their background and fleshing it out to something living and breathing. And it's just it really shocked me when that happened in our campaign.
And I had a similar situation with Jesus too, that when I started making Orleg and he says, give me a little background information, I gave, I wasn't going to make him special. I was just going to make him just kind of quiet, strong silent type and stuff like that. And Jesus wouldn't have any of that. He came back and he challenged me as a writer. He says, no, I want something more. I need something juicier. So I had to kind of dip into the story that I'm writing and add that to the character. And now it creates a whole new situation, a whole new dynamic in the story that, that I appreciate, that, being challenged like that helped me make a better character. And then the DM understands that it makes a better story. It makes a better situation.
I am so, you have no idea. I'm very excited for that arc of Oleg. I'm so excited.
But yeah, no, like Griswold's straight up broken down because of just like running into the situations with Oliver and being like, is he a Grindelwald? What is it, leak? Or we don't know. It's so cool.
Yeah, there's a mole in the ministry, but that's about it.
In retrospect, however, I think I should have gone with the folk hero background just because of how I ended up fleshing out the character.
It happens. I also, speaking on that, as I was doing a little bit of homework here and there for tonight, one DM that I like listening to, his podcast, said a very interesting thing, and it, which never dawned on me, and it's mid-campaign. Excuse me. In mid-campaign, he says that it's totally appropriate to change backgrounds. I'm not 100% sold on the idea of just I went from criminal to an acolyte or something along those lines. But the idea of this specifically, flaws. I love flaws. Flaws, I think, bring out the best in characters.
Oh, I love
yes.
Because I have in the past played with the I think Batman works for a very specific reason, because he is Batman and no one else should be ever Batman. Batman's story is already written, and if you ever try to do another Batman, it's like, the the strong person with no weaknesses. It's always like, I go into the darkness and I'm not afraid of danger. I'm like, cool, but like you're also a person with the heart and emotions, so like you are. And you know, Batman has drama with his family, and that's cool. That plays a lot. But I have played with characters in a lot of, again, not every table is the same, and if you're not streaming, whatever. If you just are there to chill with your friends and drink beer because you need to relax, that's totally fine. If you're just there to roll math rocks, that's okay. I had an army friend who that's all he did because, you know, like that's all he could do. And he's not interesting for the story. He would have been great for Warhammer games. But like if you if someone from the past is listening, if you go up and you see the avatar of a god and you're like, I don't care, I'm gonna fight it. Like, that's Heronius' brother? That is literally the god of war and death, and he challenges gods higher than him to go fight. He has like 9 arms. Don't fight him. You're a level 3 paladin. Nope, I'm gonna fight him.
In West's defense, as I've stated before, especially in the last episode, is he considers those that call themselves gods a matter of opinion, but that's just more so that's tying into his own personal journey and background as a character.
That's fine. I don't think, like, legitimately I'm pausing to look at characters. Nobody in that has sat at the table has done anything that I would deem contrary to your character, like the incident that I'm speaking of, because it's like why are you challenging this like level 40 character? You're level 3 because I'm a paladin.
Okay.
Yeah, but you out of all people know the strength of gods. Yep, and that person is against my religion. They're kinda not. All right, if you really want to do this, you're gonna lose. Like, nope, I'm doing it. I'm not gonna lose because God's on my side. No, all right, whatever. Let's go.
Oh goodness.
But I mean, again, it's if you're at a table, just have fun. This is for those people that are definitely looking for that in-depth thing. But going back to flaws, before 5th edition had backgrounds. You know, the other systems, you just pick your skills, you have a list of them, and blah, 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 go on. There was a table in the old 3.5 book that was personality quirks, and I didn't think that went into it enough. Eventually, we had our own spreadsheet. I know Dickie has a lot of spreadsheets for his games that I really love, because sometimes, like you've said, you're born and you have things that you didn't know about yourself, like, oh, I whistle a lot. That's not something I chose. That's just something that came from me. Or you're born without an arm, or something like that. And we had this long 300 sheet list of different things. By far, my favorite one is if you are a spellcaster, you have to yell out your spells like you're a Dragon Ball Z character.
Oh my god, that's beautiful.
Right? There you go. Role-playing ideas. There you go.
I love the flavor of wizard that I read somewhere that somebody wrote up, where wizards treat spellcasting like a sommelier would treat like wine vintages, basically. It's just like, yes, I see this situation calls for a essence de fireball. However, I feel perhaps a meteor might be a little more spicy. Like that kind of flavor.
Then, like, after casting, they're like, "Oh, that's a lovely ice storm. Do you smell the nose on that?
Can you detect the notes?"
That's a chef wizard would be amazing to watch, maybe horrible to be a party with. Like, can you
I need to check to see if West is a high enough intelligence for a wizard multi-class real fucking quick.
Oh no.
Please do. So a lot of the things that we had was always when you guys make characters with me, usually the first one we kind of sit there and have a longer powwow than usual, and my go-to is a lot of geared back towards those old days when there was a roll a d100 and this is your character trait, and then became into like roll 4 D100s and you pick out of these, which is like pick 2, pick one of those 2. Like the first one that I absolutely love that I never would have like thought of because I just don't think about these things was like my first gnome ever. My first D&D character was obese. So I had a 45-pound gnome rogue. I loved him.
So cute.
Little things like that. Or one of my friends got like, oh, you have 2 different eye colors. Stuff like that. And that goes into 5th edition, since that's what we play, flaws. These are things that I love because going into, like, if that one person who was always the I challenge the darkness and I'm not afraid of anything, if they had a flaw, we can work with those flaws. And I'm not saying that it's bad to have a character that's like doesn't appreciate a challenge or tends not to be afraid of the dragon. Like, those are amazing. In every single movie, that is your main character. Like, the person who overcomes the situations and challenges the darkness head on. But having a background like the stereotypical, flaw, like the stereotypical, oh, I'm afraid of water, brings those funny things out of the character, brings those comedic notes. Because, especially with the Underdark, that my Friday game has encountered, if you have every single game being grimdark game, every single game does not have that comedic element or that element to relax, it does weigh on the players. It's like, oh man, this is a scary situation, and then you are stuck in, oh man, that's a scary situation. But if it's a scary situation, oh god, there's drows everywhere and lithids and beholders, oh my god. And then there's a puddle of water and your wizard is screaming for 5 minutes because he's deadly afraid of it. That gives out a little bit of that tension away and makes you all smile and you love the game. But tailgating a little bit back on the changing your background. I like the idea of overcoming a flaw. Not that we've ever done it, but hey, thought experiment. So let's say
I feel like some. I hate to interrupt, but I feel like some context might be important in that statement about.
Go ahead.
Changing a background. When you say changing a background, do you mean like just like overcoming a flaw, like criminal becoming acolyte, like a redemption arc, something like that?
Kind of along those
where it's
lines,
like expansion on that, or do you mean hard changing where I was an outlander and now I'm a noble and I own property?
Yeah, that's what the DM that I saw was pretty much saying. Like, they're okay with that. And they didn't also go too much into detail. We were talking for 2 hours versus they talked for 20 minutes. I don't think that it would be appropriate to say I was a criminal, now I'm a noble. I lose stealth and I lose whatever acrobatics and I gain knowledge loco and this other thing and now I gain 10 extra gold for no reason. Like, I don't think that's appropriate because it doesn't make sense with the story. What I'm saying is kind of what you were saying, as my flaw was, let's say your criminal background. Your flaw is you can't trust people, right? Because you were backstabbed once and now you can't trust anybody because you're afraid of, you being sold out or you always have to watch your back or something along those lines. And then throughout the campaign, that is your flaw. So, like, you never trust the party members. Anytime you get gold, you hoard it because you don't know them, you don't trust them. And slowly, 20 episodes come in, you kill off the dragon or whatever, and now you trust the party. Should you still have the flaw of you don't trust anybody? Because you've overcome it. So maybe overcoming that flaw, now you can, not saying that you should not have a flaw, but like, I think that the flaws can be great arcs as overcoming things. And maybe switching some things around here and there when it's according to the DM and appropriate within the story. So that's what I mean by like changing backgrounds. Yes.
And I think the flaws need to have a percentage, like a very low percentage, but there's always a chance that flaw can show up at the wrong time. I think the more stressful the situation, the better the chance the flaw could show up.
Yeah.
So I think, it's just a matter of using them correctly. I think, if a dungeon master just wants to throw it in there, then I think the players are going to think, well, hell, you're picking on me, But I think when you let the dice decide, then everybody's on the same page thinking, okay, this is just the way it's supposed to be, and go with that.
Yeah,
and
I agree with
kind
that,
of
I agree.
piggybacking off of that, one flaw that I wanted to bring up when I saw this conversation point was Ferris's withdrawals,
Yeah.
because Ferris was addicted to a potion in the Harry Potter universe that of his own design that was basically the luck feat, but flavored to be the liquid luck diluted. And every time he had indulged in this in his luck feat for the sixth time, me and Jesus developed a table that he would roll on for withdrawals. And at one point, we were trying to do some minor thing. We were sitting around a campfire and like talking about something, and I had to use my luck for something stupid. And it was my sixth one, and Jesus goes, "Okay, roll for me." I roll for it, and he goes, "Okay, your withdrawal is your breath is incredibly smelly, but you are super charismatic." And I had to kind of role play off it, and it hit out of absolutely nowhere. But I think it was a great story point, and it's one of my favorite memories of Ferris.
Yeah, those tend to be good. I constantly love your flaw of like you're brutally honest, and
Right.
half the part is like I need you to stop talking. Like what? I didn't do anything wrong. That's the truth. Can you step over there for a little bit?
And the funny thing
I
is,
got a question for the group.
Yes, yes.
And I imagine everybody's been a dungeon master or a game master, some game or another. But when you first got the chance to have the game and you had all these dice and you could create all these characters, and you just went on a character creating spree. You just started creating all these different types of characters, just rolling and rolling. I'll save that one for later. I'm rolling, save that one for later. And I remember that I rolled two individuals. One was a mutant girl, and for some strange reason, she had a neutron bomb. And I rolled a human, and he had a thermonuclear bomb.
oh
And I'm
goodness,
thinking, how am I going to make this work? And you just start thinking, okay, say this person doesn't want to use it as a weapon. Maybe it could be used for something else. My firstborn knows where I'm going with this because she's followed my script that I'm writing. And there's a way you can look at things, and you can be cliche and think, well, I can do this, I can do that. But I think sometimes you can use things that may be powerful, but in a totally different context. And it makes the story come more alive and better to follow along and stuff like that. But I'm just wondering if any of you have done that before.
I'm trying to think of that specific situation.
I can sort of feed off of this.
Yeah, please.
A bit of a small question. When you were rolling the characters and you had one of them, or had both of them have some form of atomic explosive device, was that just something you rolled up, like just off
Yes.
the? And was that?
I collected, okay, on Gamma World that I have, I took every literature I had that I got off the internet, stuff like that, and I made one gigantic weapon sheet that everybody has a chance to roll to get.
There you go.
And it just so happened that's what they got. And what did I do with it? Well, to give away a part of my story, the girl has to have the neutron bomb, which is on anti-gravity pods that floats like a balloon, and it somehow is attached to her heart. She has a heart condition, and it has a switch in there that allows her heart to go. But the problem is, if she is to die, or the heart stops, or she's disconnected from the bomb, then the bomb will go off.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And then the other guy that has a thermonuclear bomb, I made him insane, and he thinks the thermonuclear bomb is his wife.
I see. I don't know. I was thinking of a much more cliche point on one of those characters being like, it's decommissioned, but their only driving goal in life is to get it back to a working capacity and then launch it into space as the world's biggest firework.
But see, I got it in the future where the apocalypse has wiped out all of history, all the past knowledges and stuff like that. So a lot of them don't know what they have,
That's
and they're
fair.
using it as something totally different.
See, with Griswold in particular, I actually asked Jesus if it was okay for me to temporarily leave the flaw blank, because I couldn't think of one. I couldn't, like, I'm much more of a, I'd rather like create it and have my own moment of inspiration than roll it out. But I also want to make it, you know, like fair and make sense to the character. And I couldn't think of a flaw for Grizz for at least a few sessions, and then it took us getting to like a town for like some kind of like little role play event, something like that. And I don't know what got into me that day, but I was just being incredibly honest. Like, just incredibly so. And I'm like, wait, this could be good. And so I was just like, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna write that down now. Flaw, brutal honesty. Like, I cannot keep anything in as that character at all. Like, I can try to lie, it's gonna suck. And I don't know. I think sometimes if you're trying to create a character and make it like, I felt bad for leaving the flaw blank, because I know that that's like a huge Mary Sue kind of thing, just, oh yeah, I have no flaws. But like coming up with brutal honesty out of nowhere, I thought it was a great inspirational point. And so I don't know, I think with some characters it might be okay if you're like still trying to think of one to just leave it blank for a session.
Yeah, I know, because I know when I first started building West for Sacred World, when it came to like trying to figure out his flaws, and then again at the same time, like what Jesus said, like 60% of your character in a story is like, you think it's done by the time you get to the table. And West's story has been a constantly wild, evolving ball of chaos. Yeah. And so I remember specifically, I wanted one point of his flaws to be that because he's an outlander, he's a very feral wild man. And due to incidents that happened in his past revolving around magic and warlocks and etc., he doesn't trust magic whatsoever. He's very wary of it. He's very scared of it. And now here I am, 3 levels into warlock.
Yeah, that's funny.
Whoops a daisy.
Well,
on the dark side, we have cookies.
Let's be fair. Your warlock pact was not the stereotypical warlock pact.
Right, yeah.
Weren't you like on death's door and took the pact?
No, actually,
no, he was dead.
Actually, no. So here's what happened. Here's the fun thing. So what ended up happening was, at first, it didn't start as a warlock pact. What happened was, there was an individual that West had met briefly in his life that he felt like he had a resounding connection to, like, personally. And then that person ended up dying. And when he saw this person's body, he felt like this presence enter him and basically say, my rage is yours, control it. And West naively accepted this. And he's like, okay, yeah. And he took it. And so it was like he was getting this berserker rage. And then through it, he was like seeing visions of this friend of his, like coming and going from his line of sight. There was a point where he ended up dying in combat, like full on. I was down to 1 death save because West was dropped. The soldier literally hit him while he was down, so that was 2 death saves out, and I rolled for my last one. I failed, so West was dead. Like, he was full on dead.
Functionally dead, yeah.
Functionally dead, yes. So I was like, oh shit, that happened. And then there was like a point where the person, Dis, he grabbed West and like literally slapped his ass back to life, like basically forcing his like the string of fate that was connecting him to the paladin at that moment, like literally fusing it back to his and just like, nope, you're not fucking done yet. Get the fuck up right now. And then West was alive again. And so from there, it became kind of like this odd, like kind of companionship, I should say. They kind of like, they're feeding off of each other. They're feeding off of their memories. Like West is in the midst of trying to figure out who this person was before all this went down, because he knows next to nothing about him, other than he met this man that he felt a kinship with. And so he's like parsing through trying to find his backstory. And through that, it was like a moment of desperation in the Underdark, like our first foray into the Underdark, where all of a sudden I get a message from Ariel. What? Like I'm talking about Dis and West, and all of a sudden Ariel showed up. I'm like, uh-oh. He knows. Palar knows. No, so basically it was like our first foray into the Underdark, and West was like, I feel like I'm not strong enough to do this on my own. help me help you. Like, give me the power to become stronger, and maybe along the way I can help you with your goals and what it is that you want that's keeping you tethered here. So now West is a warlock, and his basic rules are, if I'm gonna fight something, I better fucking fight something. The whole break the chains, break the things that are holding people down, and to constantly learn something new. So he's like always like in the midst of like trying to gain some level of knowledge. And
Yeah.
so hey, Cole. Cole, do you have any flaws?
If I want to stay here,
I'm just staring at him.
What flaws does Cole not have?
only way to explain Cole's flaw,
Yes.
curiosity.
That makes perfect sense, honestly.
Yes, Cole is a cat. That is correct.
Cole is a cat. He's very he seems very much like, I mean, he's very young too. He's like the youngest in the party
He
currently.
is the baby of the party now.
Yeah, he's like
now that Laz has left.
Yeah,
he
he's
is
like
the
26.
Baby of the party.
Yep.
Yeah, he's the youngest one in the party
He
currently.
is 12. That is the youngest in the
He is,
party.
yes, he is 12, exactly.
He is-
I envy y'all, and your youngest in the party glances over at my gaggle of students.
A 40-year-old man looks very tiredly on at his delinquents.
No,
33, well, 34 now.
Wow,
Yeah,
West is
Griswold's
older.
34.
West is older than Griswold. Wow.
Yep.
I know
Yeah.
Yes, Cole.
can't say a lot.
Well, no, I know you can't because narrative reasons.
Narrative reasons.
No, it's fun. Things are fun. Don't worry about it. It's fun. It's great.
So
For
just
now.
for a question. Okay, so it turns out that Ariel is asking me how much longer we're doing the podcast for, since he's asking when it ends.
We're about that like that wrap up point right now.
Oh.
Yes, it's we've been talking for an hour 30, my friends.
There you go.
Yeah, we're just about that wrap up point. There's
Yeah.
And there's so much more we could discuss on the subject too.
No, right, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I definitely see Cole as the curiosity killed the cat, and very much he's learning that his actions have consequences, as he's learned in this recent battle.
Yes. Very much.
Especially
so.
when you decide to shit talk the Goliath in Infernal while
Oh,
making him
yeah.
explode in blood. That kind of gets people's attention, Cole.
Grizz is just sitting in the corner
Well,
like,
here's the
consequences,
thing.
what are those, zombie?
Cole should have gotten that also when he decided to, a few sessions ago. Oh, I don't know. When we were all sleeping and he was visited by the night hag, and it's like, she can't see me. I'm gonna poke the bear and keep screwing.
So
with
you
her.
decided to talk shit.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and you
You
decided to talk shit again, and like, all right, let's
Cole's
make
flaw
more.
is that Cole's flaw is that he has small dog syndrome.
he does have small dog.
And,
He's like, you could kill me, but I'm still gonna fight you.
and the night hag's like, all right, cool, let's oh, who's this person over here? Are they your friends? Let's make them an enemy now. Let's cause them some pain.
It's
Yep.
not something that it was brought up, but it was a thought that I had after.
Yep.
And it is a thing where I know he could, I'm pretty certain the next time she visits, he'll talk shit again.
I love how you just say he's gonna do it again.
He'll do it again because it's like
That's his character. That's who he is.
I love
that's
Cole
that's
so
within
much.
his character, and at the same time, it's like you're focusing on trying to shave off and kill all of these people around you because
She's
what,
cursing
you're
them.
not getting what you want. Well, guess what? This is what I'll do to piss you off.
I
Yeah,
mean,
he's gonna do his thing.
Heal.
Yeah, you're just gonna keep being a little shithead. Yeah.
hey, I mean, I love it. I
If-
do.
like,
Now
if-
that you
if-
finally realize that Greater Restoration will cure that, I mean, hey, that's great.
I feel like the second again she decides to show up, it's like, okay, who are you gonna pick this time? I got the spell prepared,
I feel like if
lady. Come on.
Yeah, but
sorry.
now it's wasting a spell slot every day.
and the
A level
component.
3
Exactly.
spell slot, and you have to spend 100 gold every day.
Yeah, and it's
Exactly.
like, I mean, I feel like
Well, I feel he's not gonna let it get to. He'll probably wait until it gets to the point of it's actually gonna show, like, I guess, like how it was with Laz. She got visited like 3 times, I think.
and we never
before.
healed her.
Yeah, no, Lass's HP is permanently 58 now.
Yep.
Because you never healed her.
But at the same time,
We never figured
Wes
that out.
did give her something that.
Yeah, well, I gave her the amulet, so there's that.
True.
I did give her that amulet.
That is true.
If Wes left an inkling of whatever it is that Cole is doing to defy this hag, like Cole is already literally, I will admit that Cole is already in the highest of favor for Wes as a character, because you saved his best friend. You saved him from the curse of the Death Tyrant, and you allowed his soul to finally pass on. Cole is literally in the highest praise for Wes. But if West finds out that he's doing this with this night hag, he's gonna have so much mad respect for Cole. You're like, fuck yeah, you little shit.
I mean,
let's go.
Wes and Cole are the only two
You
that
want to
were
go
up
beat
when
the
it
shit out of a
happened.
night hag? Let's fucking do this, little guy.
Well, that's fun.
Today I learned that Cole is Spinel's spirit animal.
Yeah.
Oh my god. If Spineroll was out of his leash, how many things would he get y'all in trouble for? I'm gonna go punch that wizard. No, please don't. You're like 3 feet tall. I'm gonna go punch him.
There's a reason I didn't bring him to the ministry.
He would have set the whole thing on fire.
He would have punched the minister. I will challenge you. That was his flaw. It's like, how can I make this intelligent cactus an issue? What can I do to make him stand out and be a thing? Oh, he's not very strong. He's gonna fight everybody he meets.
Today we learn that plants are just filled with unbridled rage.
Yeah. I mean, they've been standing still their whole lives. I'd want to punch some shit too if I was stuck in one place.
Yeah. Beat some people up.
Just fucking go time,
joke.
Yeah. But all right. Do we have
stabby things on the end of my little fingerless fists? Let's fucking hit some people with it.
Right.
I mean, the first time I actually saw him punch something was when he killed the Auror in last session, and G just told me that Spinel's nubs turned into spikes and just fudge right there. Just kill. And I'm like, holy shit, that's a lot more brutal than I thought it was gonna be. Oh yes.
It's almost like Spinel has levels. Oh,
People get surprised when the kobold in the party actually gets killed. I'm like, y'all, I've been leveling him.
Yeah.
Why do you dragging him everywhere?
Why do you think the encounters are slightly higher now?
Right. I have to balance for a fucking fighter kobold, and he's a little death machine.
You laugh about stuff like that, and then
I don't.
Cole with
yeah.
his fox skull, which it's just his arcane focus, but
yeah. I mean, fair.
Speaking of that. I will, as a kind of side note that has nothing to do with the conversation, but about measuring fight. If you constantly have, let's say, a druid who likes to summon animals, you might want to incorporate that into the challenge rating, even though by the book that is part of their ability, that should be regulated. And in 5th edition, a lot of that is regulated, because when you look at the creatures that are summoned, everything just has 19 HP, as an example. A lot of the creatures that I summon have that HP, so by this time they can summon these things, 1 or 2 hits takes care of it. But if they're really intelligent, they can really work with things. So summoning and buffing and all those things should be counted into the DM, and they should look at the players. I'm not saying throw an extra dragon just because your player summons 8 panthers, but oh man, polymorphous overpowered. Hit the freaking wizard who casted polymorph. It's not overpowered. It's fine. It's okay.
So jumping onto that note, just would you like a little peek behind the curtain, Jesus?
I always like looking at what's behind the curtain.
Okay. So balancing for, say, a druid that's always summoning magical animals.
Yeah.
I will have you know that in the text module for Horde of the Dragon Queen, Glasshail Cloud Chaser, I should say, the white dragon you are encountering, written in the book, he's supposed to be an adult white dragon.
I know, he's ancient.
He is now an ancient white dragon.
Yep. I saw it.
There you go.
That's
Balancing
why
for your players.
That's exactly why you threw the extra fucking pack of fish ores at us, because you knew I was going to mammoth spine roll.
Always. So the moral of the story here is always balance for the druid, because the druid's gonna always pull some kind of fuckery out their ass.
Druids are known for being the controllers of the battlefield.
Can I
the
can
DM
I
doesn't control the
West
battlefield.
into druid now?
The druid control. You can do it as long as he has 13
West
wisdom.
into druid now?
Sure.
What?
Does he have 13 wisdom? Then go ahead.
I have a 14 wisdom.
Then you can do it.
Yay.
West
Time
is like,
to
I
learn
like
some.
animals now.
I mean, he does.
That,
Yeah.
That's always been his character. He's been very very nature boy.
I think he's the only one with animal handling in the entire party.
Yes. Cool. I'm gonna learn to set things on fire now.
Oh God.
And he's gonna be like, "Do you want to learn how to do this?" Fire. Yes, I do. I think that's totally appropriate when like a player levels up in a different class. Like, oh, there's a druid in the party. I also want to be a druid. Yeah, you have someone who literally teach you how to do these things right
That is
there.
so fun. Yay.
Yeah, but
Wes is gonna learn some fire. He's gonna set it on fire.
fun.
Sitting there, hey Wes, teach me not to suck. When it comes
West
to getting
hands him his hammer, and Cole just falls to the floor.
It's like, all right, you got to do these crunches and these push-ups. Next level takes a toughness feat. See, told you, man. Working out gets you buff.
You might need to take the toughness feat.
Oh, it's okay. At one point, we were talking to Neff because she's got the gauntlets of like giant strength or something.
Mhm.
They're like basically raises your strength stat to 19, and Neff would have taken something that would have put her strength to 19, and the gauntlets don't do anything after that, right? So we were talking about what to do with them, and I was like, wait, we could just put them on spine roll.
Yeah, you can. You 100% can.
And bear in mind, spine roll's got like a 11 in strength or something. I can pull up the sheet if I have to.
You can give those gauntlets to anybody, and you automatically become swole. Like
Swollest little cactus.
Just a 3-foot cactus running at you with this, and then I ended up. Yeah, Spinal is my polymorph sync now, so I don't really need the gauntlets on him unless I can't polymorph anymore. So.
I mean, those gauntlets are not are pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Those gauntlets are pretty good. But all right, guys, let's. If no one else has any final thoughts about the conversation at hand, or any last minute questions on chat. Champ, do you have something to say?
Not you. Not
right.
you, Champ. We're not talking to you.
All right, Champ, we'll have a discussion later. Don't worry. I'll talk about that bone later.
Okay.
But all right, guys, thank you so much for chatting in and indulging us on our conversations that we pretty much have at the end of every game. But it's fun to do it for some of you guys out there, some of our friends out there. So yeah, we'll edit this. It's gonna go on our D&T main page on YouTube in a bit, and it's gonna be on Spotify for all you audio listeners that didn't catch the entire conversation. And yeah, just please remember to be kind to one another. Please remember to love each other, and we'll see you next time.
See you next
everyone.
time.
Adios.
Bye.